Hello, Sunday Fantasy Football fans. Johnny Utah here, coming at you with your Week 5 recap. And I apologize today as we tape this. It is Saturday afternoon. As you can see behind me, there is Clemson putting a whooping on Florida State University, 28-0, and we're not even to halftime yet. So, anyways, college football is in full swing today. So, thought I'd take a few minutes to get the Week 5 recap. So I'll keep this short. My birthday was Thursday. That's generally when I will do these recaps. But we had some things going on, sushi night, Addison had a dance, caught up with a couple friends. It's what you do when you turn 42. You get sushi and, catch up with friends that are as old as you are. So anyways, let's jump into it. So I tell you what, Houston, we have liftoff. We had Deshaun Watson and Will Fuller put on a show, each scoring over 40 points in fantasy. The bummer thing is that no one in our league actually started either of them. So Houston put up 53 points last week. It was something, Dave Dirksen scored 170 points, and he didn't even start Watson. If he would have started Watson, he would have had like 200 plus points. So it would have been ridiculous. So, and then Will Fuller, I can't recall who has him, but put up like a career game, over 200 yards, multiple touchdowns. Anyway, so that was insane. Mahomes looks mortal for the second week in a row, which isn't good news for Showtime 15, previously undefeated Jackie, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Christian McCaffrey continues to be a beast and back up his number one draft position. Let's see. He is on pace. This is interesting. He's on pace for 2,700 yards. That'd be receiving and rushing yards, which would easily be like an all-time best. It would smash like the all-time best. So he's on a unprecedented pace at this point. So if he keeps doing that, Mr. Dave Dirksen Vogelai is going to be very, very happy. So then we're looking at, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. If you owned Mike Evans, you're like, what the And if you owned Chris Godwin, you're like, he is the true number one in Tampa Bay. And other than the 1 week Mike Evans went off, it is certainly looking like the baton has been passed from Mike Evans to Chris Godwin. So we'll continue to kind of monitor that. And then I thought this was interesting, and not to kind of plug myself, but that Patriots defense is a top 10 scoring entity. We're talking quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, tight ends, you name it. They're the number 10 scoring team in fantasy football. Number 10 scoring entity, I should say, which is insane. And I was just talking to Vogel actually a little bit ago, and they're not going to keep this up. They're playing some garbage teams, so they're getting the benefit of that. So we'll see if they can continue that, but I'm not going to bank on it. Not yet. So, but let's circle back. So Johnny Utah and myself, undefeated, played Showtime 15 in a matchup of the undefeateds within the league, and I came out victorious. I think 129-120. That is correct. So, relatively close. If Patrick Mahomes, 19 points, so if he puts up like 40 like he generally would over the last couple years, she would have won the game. So, anyways, excuse me. Happy to still be undefeated, but I play Vogelai this week, and we'll see. We had a Thursday night game, but I don't want to leak any information. You guys can kind of see what happened with people who had players on this last Thursday when the Patriots played the Giants. So going through Shack Attack, not winners, versus Tex-Mex in the Toilet Bowls, what I like to call it, because they were the two worst teams in the league representing the East and the West divisions. And Robbie Gold comes up with the victory for Tex-Mex. So Shack Attack remains defeated on the season. So I don't know. I keep, we'll get back to where I predicted he had the best team, what I appeared to be the best team after the draft. And he continues to disappoint me each week, where I have faith in this guy that he's going to get a victory. But Robbie Gold started the game 0 for 3 in field goals. So it looked as though Shack Attack was going to pull it out. Then late in the fourth quarter, he does end up kicking a long field goal, which actually didn't put him over the edge to beat Shack Attack. But the team win for the 49ers did. He ended up winning by 0.9 over Shack Attack. The Ball Out Award, Ball out, being like get after it for the week, goes to Team Vogelai and Brad Pound hashtag BS. They each scored. Brad had 160, over 160, and Vogelai had over 170. So we had some points flying around this week for sure. And Kim put up a fight. I think she scored 140 or 150 when in that effort to lose to Brad. Again, Brad had 160. So, and Vogelai had beaten Shane Falco again with the 170 points. So, I mean, if you're Shane Falco, like, what are you gonna do, right? So, Clueless beats Mama in Motion behind a threesome of running backs: Josh Jacobs, Dalvin Cook, and Zeke. And actually, Zeke was the last running back in that pecking order because Josh Jacobs had a day. Dalvin Cook continues to be a beast on this season, showing that we can, what he can do when he's healthy. So Clueless is up to a 3-2 start after starting 0-2 on the year. I also thought she had a pretty good team, and she's pulling out of the depths at 3-2. Now is a winning record. So Rich gets a huge win over previously 3-1, Stairway to 7. So Stairway to 7. Drops to 3-2. DJ Shark, I gotta tell you, he might be the rookie of the year. He might be, and I'm just getting a note here that's coming to the studio. Touchdown. Who's that for?
You. Anyone.
For anyone. All right. So, anyways, the lights seem to be doing. We got Halloween lights and stuff going on here. So, let's get back to the video. Yeah, DJ Shark is the number 10 wide receiver on the year, just crushing it. Josh Jacobs, who I just talked about, also is crushing it as a rookie running back. So I think those two have to be kind of leaders in the clubhouse for rookie of the year. So kudos to those team owners. Who's the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy? No, it's not Julio Jones. It's not DeAndre Hopkins. It's not Devontae Adams. It's seriously like guys like Michael Thomas has done well, Chris Godwin. It's going to be interesting to see at the end of the year if some of these like late first round picks that we all loved or traditionally have loved and that year in year out have been the top wide receivers like Hopkins and Julio Adams, for instance. How this kind of fleshes out at the end of the year if they kind of have a good second part of this, second half of the season comeback. So I thought that was interesting. The West is going to have a 3-way tie at the top of the standings with Shane Falco, Stairway to 7, and Vogelai all at 3-2. Vogelai has the most points, so he will be the number 1 right now seed in the East. I play him next week, so another heavyweight matchup for Johnny Utah and myself. I played number 1 in the the West Division, and previously undefeated Showtime 15 Jackie. And now I've got to play the new number one team in the West Division in Vogelai, who's hot, and he is now the number 1 scoring team in the Fantasy League after that 170-point effort this last week. So Brad pulls to a 3-2 winning record in my division in the East, so that puts him in 3rd place behind myself and Jackie. And let's see. Otherwise, I'll probably just go ahead and cut this short. College football, we're all watching, hanging out. So let's look forward to a good week 6. I think we have some great matchups. Again, headlined again by myself. Johnny Utah playing Team Vogelai. First in East, first in West, and let's see what happens. So here's the one that's been trying to distract me this whole time. So appreciate your help there. Sunday Fantasy Football, appreciate your support. Love you guys. Have a great weekend.